Welcome everybody to the new student check-in. Um, just in case it wasn't clear, this is just for you guys for the new spring 2026 cohort. I think we're in week 5 now, so I hope everyone's been kind of settling in, right? Um, and today we're just going to go over some important things that you all should know, and just an opportunity for you guys to talk to us as your advisors, one-on-one with any questions that you may have. But I'm Minoska Hernandez. You might recognize me already because I was helping you with onboarding. I'm one of the online advisors. And then we have Adriana.
I'm the other academic advisor.
Yes, so you'll be getting emails from the both of us, regularly. So always check your email and things. But we're going to discuss some academic stuff, enrollment and your finances, important field education information, how you as online students can be more connected to UCF. And then we'll close off with your professional identity and how you can form that and a little Q&A. Okay, so some important academic information, as I'm sure you're aware at this point, our classes are only offered within 7-week terms. So this first term, like I said, you should be in week 5 now. I'm all jumbled myself, so it's been a whirlwind, but it should be week 5. So that means you only have 2 weeks to go. It goes pretty quickly. So if you have any issues or things, any doubts, please let us know as soon as possible so that we can help mitigate any issues. Or if you're just feeling overwhelmed and want someone to chat with about it, you can always reach out to us. Um, but your second course in the semester will also be the 7-week term. The only thing that will run through the whole year will be your field seminar course. You guys won't have to worry about that just yet, but it's something to keep in mind. That's the only thing that doesn't run through 7 weeks. Um, Next is your course registration. Um, I helped register you guys this first semester, but moving forward, starting in the summer, you will be responsible for registering for your own classes. Of course, we're not going to leave you in the dust, so Adriana will be sending information, I would say late March, for summer 2026 registration. And all of that is done through your MyUCF portal. Again, the email will contain everything you need to know, like the classes and how to go about doing that. Simple syllabus. So this is something new that UCF has been implementing, I would say, within the last few years, Adriana, right? This is really great because it
Semesters
houses
even.
semesters. Okay, so it's very, very new. It's wonderful because we always get questions about the syllabi and what classes are going to be looking like. So simple syllabus is where all of that information is housed. So if you're curious about future courses, um, you would just have to log into Simple Syllabus with your UCF credentials and just make sure to search the course number. So SOW and then the number of the course. And the syllabus should be there. If you need help navigating that, you can always reach out, and we'll help you. And let me move the little window so I can see. But next are some resources for you guys as students. So firstly, we'll discuss this a little bit later, but you have a wonderful success coach. If you haven't touched bases with her already, she's great. And we'll talk more about her later. You guys do have access to the UCF library as online students. Even though you can't come in person, you can still go in and find what you need, like journals and that sort of thing. You have full access to that. Um, the University Writing Center, you also have access to that as online students. I would highly recommend utilizing them and making an appointment with them. They're great. This is a reading and writing heavy program, so definitely make sure to take advantage. And then we also have a therapy assisted online system, which is self-regulated or self-guided, I believe. Adriana, I think, knows a little bit more about that than I do. If you want to talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So if you are going through a situation, you might use your university's counseling and psychological services. As an online student, you don't pay the fee to access those services. So instead, you have something called Therapy Assisted Online. And basically, it has a list of things you might be experiencing if you're going through a period of grief, if you're having disordered eating habits, just feeling down or anxious. There are places that you click and it will walk you through some guided assistance with it. And then if you need assistance outside of what it offers, our counseling services can help you. Find someone in your area or find additional resources. But it's just a really neat feature also as a social worker to check out what kind of exists out there. So there's a lot of good things on that website. And I did want to say that we will send you this presentation afterwards along with the recording. So you can't click the links now, but they will be active for you to click later.
Okay, so some enrollment information. This is a part-time program only. I know some people get a little bit confused by that because some semesters you'll see that you're registered almost full time, but we are only a part-time program. And the model is cohort style, and we have everything arranged in your plan of study. So you graduate exactly on time. There's no possibility to graduate a little earlier by taking extra courses. That's not how it works with our model or with financial aid for that matter, or payment wise. So you got to stick with what we have in the plan of study. Um, and we do make sure that you are eligible financial aid wise every semester with the amount of credit hours that you are going to be taking. If there, for some reason, you need to make a plan to your plan of, or excuse me, an adjustment to your plan of study, please let us know if you utilize financial aid so that we can revise it accordingly so that you're still able to be eligible for that financial aid, whatever the changes may be. Okay, so something really cool that we offer here is the military social work certificate. So just reading the little top part here, this certificate will be able to provide you with behavioral health services to strengthen military veterans and their families during and after deployment. Our students love the certificate. It's really wonderful, and you guys are able to do great work with it afterwards if you're interested in working with this population. There are 3 elective courses that are required that you have to take. Um, just so you know that if you're not interested in the military social work certificate, or maybe you want to take a class to see if you're interested in it, you can do that without being in the certificate. And if you decide that you know, these classes are still available to you, and if you decide after taking one of the classes, hey, I do want to do that, um, please let us know so that you can go ahead and go through the application process, and we can adjust your plan of study accordingly. But for the application, you will have to submit a personal statement and a resume. And there are 3 different deadlines, so it is offered every semester, which is great. So look at the dates to see which one applies to you or how soon or how late you would be interested in doing so. But it's a really cool opportunity. So definitely take advantage if you're interested in working with this population. Okay, so some important financial deadlines. So these are the payment deadlines for spring 26, summer 26, and fall 26. This may differ from what you see in the UCF general calendar. Um, so always check our online MSW program calendar that I send out to you guys. If you don't have a copy, you can find it in the Advising Portal web course. But deadlines are typically deferred if you receive financial aid. Um, it's important to note that the fall 26 one, there's 2 separate payment deadlines. I know it's a little bit confusing. It's confusing for us too.
Yeah, we're transitioning to a new model, so you'll have to bear
Yes.
with us, but we are happy to, talk to you about the deadlines, and if we can help, we will. The success coach is probably your best bet
Hmm.
with this, but you don't have to memorize this. We will remind you, and it might be a little bit easier once you start seeing how the terms work.
Hmm.
Right now, you're in term 1. It's also called session F. As you move further in the program, it should make a little bit more sense.
Yes. And Barbara, like Adriana said, is a great resource. She's our success coach. She's a great resource, and she has full access to your financial accounts. Well, you know, the student side of things. So she would definitely be the one to touch bases with that. UCF does offer some scholarships and assistantships. Those links will be provided for you later so that you can check them out. Please always read through carefully to make sure that it's something that you're eligible for as an online student. And if there are any opportunities that we are made aware of, we will definitely be sure to reach out to you guys. We know that grad school is expensive, so we try to stay up to date on all of that stuff for you. Okay, yeah, so financial aid. Um, this is can be a little bit confusing too, but you have to submit the 2025 one and the 2026 one, and then the 2027 and the 2026 and 2027 FAFSA for financial aid. This can all be found in your My UCF's to-do list. It'll show up as like outstanding requirements. And you have to accept your award or you're not going to get the money. So make sure you do that. They're available every semester, but you have to make sure to file and submit. I get a lot of emails personally from students wondering where their aid is, and a lot of times they haven't done what they needed to do. But this is something else that, we can connect you with Barbara with. Um, Disbursement wise, don't get nervous. The aid will be released at different times depending on where in the program you are. So if you do have any questions, you can just reach out to me. But yeah, so don't get nervous. Again, we get emails saying, where's my aid? I have to pay. But it's just dispersed a little bit later. I don't know if Adriana wanted to add to that.
Yeah, it just is based on the number of credit hours you're
Mhm.
taking. And so, for example, right now, you're enrolled in 6 credit hours. That puts you at part-time status. But because you're only taking one of these courses at a time, financial aid says, well, you're only taking 3 hours now. You're not eligible for your aid until that second term starts and we see that you're taking additional credit hours. So that's why in your first year, the add drop deadline in term two is typically when it will release. Summer is a little different because the requirements for enrollment are fewer. You don't have to take as many credit hours to be eligible. So after the add drop period in your second and third year, it should release right away. Just that first year is a little bit tricky. But again, if you find yourself in term two and you're like, hey, where's my aid? I thought it was going to disperse. Reach out to us. We'll connect you with Barbara or reach out to Barbara directly, and we'll get you squared away. But we'd like to just mention it because some people do get alarmed when they're seeing the deadline is approaching and they haven't gotten their aid. But usually it's just the release is different depending on where you are in the program. So, field education, it's not something you have to start thinking about yet, but it's something that we like to address in the first semester because field is our signature pedagogy and it is where social work comes alive and you get to put into practice all the things you've been learning in your classes. So, this first year, you're going to get connected in term two of your second semester with the field education team. And they're going to send you a link to join a web course, which is your field placement web course. You're going to let them know where you're located, what populations you might be interested in, if you're aware of any agencies in the area doing work that you might be interested in working with, or you driven by this agency and you're like, oh, maybe they accept interns. That application that you submit will then have the field team link you with a field faculty member, and you'll work one-on-one with them to secure a placement. These two individuals are the most important field people. Orlando Roman is our field education director, and Jill Davis is our assistant director. And these will be the people that you're in touch with most often if you have questions about, how things work in field education. If you have any problems at your location when you're actually placed there. They're just great people to know their names, and they really love field education. That's where their heart is. And so it's a really fun experience for them to place students in different locations and work with you to get that experience. As you are in the part-time track, the 3-year track, you're going to do 2 years of a field experience. The first year is your generalist year, and this is entry-level social work. This is manning maybe a hotline, a crisis hotline. You might work at an emergency shelter or agencies that give community resources. So you're expected to complete 400 hours over your first generalist internship, the year of it. That's 3 semesters of 8 to 10 hours per week, and you will stay at the same agency for the duration of the year. In your clinical year, you'll do the same thing that you did for your generalist. You'll complete an application, you'll get assigned a field faculty member, and then you'll get a clinical location secured. Clinical practice, now you're actually going to be working with individuals, families, groups as a clinician under the supervision of whoever's at your agency. So this is really the year that you get to actually be a social worker. And so a lot of people really find this to be the most exciting time in the program. And a lot of our students find that they get job offers at the end of their internship to stay on afterwards. So if you're looking to be licensed as a clinical social worker, a lot of those locations will provide you that supervision you need to go for licensure as well after you graduate. So the clinical year, you're going to be in places like hospitals, residential facilities, schools, and you're required to complete 600 hours over that year with about 10 to 14 hours a week. For both of these, don't try to knock out all your hours on one day. You're going to be expected to spend 2 to 3 days at your internship completing hours. So you might not get the placement that you're hoping for right away if you want to work with kids, but there are no available opportunities with kids in your area. We just ask that you are open to the experience, and you might find a new population that you never even knew that you wanted to work with. And that ends up being, the place that you want to spend the rest of your life. So, field is just a really cool experience, and it's something that we'll talk about a lot throughout the program. So, even though you don't start your placement until the second year, start thinking about it. Just start paying attention to what's in your area. As an online student, sometimes it can feel difficult to connect to a campus that might be very far away from where you're located. And also, UCF is quite large, so it can feel kind of alienating being an online student in a large university. So we just have a few ways to keep you connected, as much or as little as you'd like to be. We have an MSW Student Association, and we currently have the president of the program is an online student. So she's doing a great job of making opportunities available to both campus-based students and online students to participate in events. So they have networking opportunities, they have trainings and meetups. They do virtual hangouts as well as in person. If you want to join the MSW Student Association, there's a $10 fee and it gets you a t-shirt, and you'll apply through Night Connect. They also have an Instagram to show the events they have coming up or the things that they're doing in the group. We also have an online MSW Facebook group. You should have gotten the link when you got your sort of confirmation that you were in and registered. So I know that some of the students in your cohort have already joined us. We have a group of about 600 people that includes current students and alumni, as well as Minoska and myself. We don't have any other faculty or staff on the page, so you can feel free to kind of engage with current students and alums, however you feel comfortable. Usually, I see students selling textbooks, asking for recommendations for professors, but also, who lives in Orlando? Who lives in Philadelphia? Is there a group out here? People set up study groups, or they might set up a cohort-based Facebook group to hang out. So it's just a great way to learn about other people in the program who might not be in your cohort. And it's also a place where we'll share opportunities like jobs or workshops that we're offering at UCF or elsewhere that we know about. Anything that we post to the Facebook group that is available to students, we will also post on the advising portal. So just if you're not on the Facebook group, don't worry, you won't miss any announcements. Those will always be shared through our advising portal. But Facebook's just kind of a fun place where people post, inspirational things or things going on in their community. And we love to see that connection between the cohorts. And it's a way to help you feel more connected to UCF and to the social work program. If you'd like to get a student ID card, you certainly can. There's a $5 mailing fee. Basically, you upload a photo and your information, and they'll send you out a UCF ID card. So if you're local to campus, you can come here and have your picture taken and get your card. But it's great for like discounts or movies and restaurants and events. So we encourage you to get one of those. And we've mentioned it a few times, but the advising portal is a really unique thing to our program, and it's basically a 24/7 advisor. So if you go on it, it's through web courses. You're going to be able to find the academic calendar, plans of study. You can find clinical licensure information for your state. You can find more things about registration and just kind of what it's like being in the program. There's a whole module on field education. So I really encourage you to check it out. If you have any questions about the advising portal, there's a discussion area that you can post in, and we can respond. Other students in the portal can respond. So please check it out. If you don't have access to it, let us know, and we can get you added to it. So Barbara Bush is your success coach, and she's a coach through and through. She wants to see you get to graduation. She wants to see you do it in the 3 years, and she wants to help take any obstacles out of the way that might prevent you from graduating when you want to. So she is best to ask for assistance with things like financial aid, payment deadlines, but also she's a great person to work with on achieving goals. So if you have academic goals, if you have personal goals even that might impact your studies or your time to graduation, she's a great person to work with on setting things up like that. Study skills, how to organize your life. Adding classes and internship can be really difficult because many of us have jobs and families in addition to studying and going to field placement. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or you just need somebody to get you over that finish line, Barbara is a great individual to help. You can send her an email, set up a phone call with her, and she will help you from now until graduation. Sometimes there's a question about, well, why do I have a success coach if I have an academic advisor? So these slides are kind of set up to help you. These are the things that you can have ask Barbara for, and she can help you with. And then Minoska and I are your advisors. So anything academic is going to be us. So if you have any questions about our academic policies, like, oh, what happens if I get a C? How do I withdraw? What if I need to take a leave of absence? Those are things that we can help you with. Any questions about your plan of study? Can I take an elective here instead of here? Or does this class have to be taken before that class? The plan of study that we give you is the model for your cohort. For extenuating circumstances, you're having a baby, you need to travel to take care of a loved one. We can make accommodations and we can adjust your plan that way. But please don't just try to register for anything that you think might be available to you. The plan is very important to follow. And if you need to make any changes or you're curious about changes, please reach out to Minoska and myself and we can guide you through those. Um, Anything that might be impacting your academic performance. So 7 weeks is very fast. If something is going on in the first week and you don't think, it's probably not relevant. Like, for example, we've had students get into like a car crash or something that they didn't think was going to really, be that big of a deal. But then they find out, oh no, now I have to go to physical therapy or I have to deal with legal issues. And it just makes it more difficult to finish the semester. Just let us know. Maybe it's nothing, but it's good for us to keep you aware of add drop deadlines, withdrawal deadlines, if there are medical concerns, things like that, how you get accommodations. So keep us in the loop, and we're happy to help any way we can. For questions about assignments, grading in your class, when a professor's office hours are, you're going to talk to the instructor directly. So the syllabus is going to give you a lot of information, specifically what their preferred contact method is. So be sure anything related to the class itself, reach out to the professor directly. We're happy to help with the academic picture. In a broad strokes, but the individual classes go to your instructor. And if you're having any trouble reaching your instructor, then you can come to us and let us know. And we are happy to meet with you in person, on phone, Zoom, whatever you like. Minoska does the largest portion of student meetings, so you'll get to see her lovely face more frequently than mine. But feel free to reach out to either one of us with any questions you have. There's not just one of us that does this or that. So the MSW is a professional program. And by that, I mean that we follow a professional code of ethics, and we expect our students to do the same. So, in your orientation, you are introduced to the NASW Code of Ethics, and that's something that you're going to see listed in the syllabus, in every syllabus you have for a class here at UCF. We want you to embody these as a student in your classes with respect to your fellow classmates, your instructors, anybody that you interact with at your field placement. Um, and there are consequences for not embodying what we say in the Code of Ethics. So it's something to keep in mind. You could be doing well academically, but if you are not following the Code of Ethics, that's going to be a problem. And that's something that in a professional program, you're held to a higher standard. And so we try to give you that information right away and let you know what our expectations are. So academic performance is very important, but there's also this other level that you need to be aware of. So ways to develop a professional identity. So we encourage you to collaborate with your peers and your instructors. Some students who have been in online programs before may say, well, I was in an online class. I never really talked to my professor. I never really got to know anybody. Go to their office hours, find out what they've done in their life. Maybe they're research focused, but maybe they've have private practice experience or they have clinical experience. We have a really diverse group of faculty that does international field work, social work, excuse me, and people who have research in really cool areas. So engage with them, reach out to them, ask them questions. They want to be useful to you. And also try to connect with your peers. In classes, you'll have some group work and opportunities to connect, but find out who's in your area or find out who might be interested in the same things as you and collaborate starting right away. Other things you can do outside of the program, um, seek professional development opportunities in your area. Find out what a community agencies work in your area and what initiatives they're involved in. So maybe there's a food drive or there's some event for families who, refugees or displaced families. Um, there are service projects that you can get involved with, even if you're not formally a member of this group you can find out about joining them as a student, not necessarily as an intern, but just find out what's going on in your community and be of service. And that's a good way to gain connections throughout your time in the program. Your local NASW chapter is also a good way to network with fellow social workers. That is a link that you can click and find your location and see what your local chapter is doing. They offer trainings and workshops and events, and it's really good to get involved with them even as a student. If you are interested in clinical licensure, and that is something that our program is preparing you for, we encourage you to look up the clinical requirements prior to graduating so that you can know if there's an additional course that might be required in California or New Jersey that's not part of our core curriculum. So, human sexuality, for example, is a course that is required by some states to obtain licensure, but it's not one of our core curriculum classes. However, we offer it as an elective. So, if you know what the requirements are ahead of time, you can be on the lookout to make sure that you're hitting those things while you're in the program. If you click that link, it's going to take you to a state by state listing, and you can go ahead and see what your state requires. If you have any questions or trouble locating what the state requires, just feel free to reach out to us and we can point you in the right direction. We are very familiar with Florida licensure, but we're getting more familiar with other states as well. So just reach out and see if there's anything that we can help with on that. And finally, we have a career services office here at UCF that has a lot of options for online students, and it's not something that we see a lot of students take advantage of. So there's more resources for you as a current student than there are once you graduate. So even if you're not ready to, pick your career or what you're going to do with your social work degree, now it's just a good idea to start thinking about it. what could you do with a social work degree? Maybe you'll be a clinician, but there are other ways to go as well. They have drop-in sessions to help you with your resume or cover letters. They have mock interview system that you can do virtual like an AI thing. You can learn about professional dressing, interview skills, which is good for your field placement as well, because you will do an interview before you are secured a field placement. And you can also look for jobs. They have a nice big portal where people post jobs. So that's a good way to see what's out there as well. And I think that is the end of us talking a lot. So if you give me a second, I'll stop this and we can answer any questions you might have. I think in the chat we were already got one. Yes. So if you wanted to change your name, we can go ahead and help you with that. Let's see. I was wondering if people ever get placements where they can also have employment. Yes. It's not a guarantee, but we do have students who do employment-based internships. It can be for one of your two placements, not both. So we do want you to have a varied experience in field placement. And so if it's also a place where you work or you're interested in working, that's fine. You just go connect with a field faculty member to make sure that they have all the things that we require and that you're getting a different experience than you are as an employee. And so please feel free to put in the chat or unmute yourself and ask any questions you have. As I said, we'll definitely send you this presentation we did along with the recording. So I know that we have a lot to say and a lot of links, and you can go explore on your own when you have a chance. In your second term, we'll have a drop-in advising session. So once you've gotten through this first semester, you can come and just ask any questions you might have or how you're feeling in the program, try to connect with other students. We try to have at least one of those drop-in sessions a semester. So, you can also make an appointment to meet with us and ask any questions or send us an email. But sometimes it's fun to just log in and chat with us. Okay. At some point, we've been told to print out the course description or the syllabus for future reference for employers. Can you clarify? Yeah, it's a good idea to save the course description or the syllabus for each of your classes. That is particularly, or that's something that Simple Syllabus is really good about. You can go look at historical syllabi. So if you didn't save your syllabus from this class right now, and it's 2 years from now and you're like, oh, I want a copy of that, you can still go back and save it. It's very important for clinical licensure in some states. They will require a course description for each of the classes that you've taken. Some will require the full syllabus, but that's becoming more rare. The course description for every course offered in our program is in the student handbook that you got through orientation, but it's also available online through the graduate catalog. So there won't ever be a time where you can't find the course description. You can always email us, but we might not have a copy of the syllabus. So that I always recommend the first, week of the semester, save that syllabus somewhere and then keep that folder on a drive and that way you always have it. Anything else, Minoska, about that?
No, that's pretty much what I know about it as well.
And in terms of field placements, do they follow the schedule of the university, such as winter, spring breaks, and breaks between semester? Yes and no. They're very familiar. When you get a field placement, your field faculty member that's making the connection will provide them with an academic calendar that shows what our dates are and when our breaks are. So I've never heard of a student being at a placement that was like, no, you absolutely cannot be on a break when you're supposed to be on a break. When you're on a break, not considering spring break, for example, it's coming up in March, me, but winter break, you're only covered under the school's insurance when you are enrolled in classes. So it's very, very unlikely that you will be requested to work over a winter break. If you work out a situation with your agency and our field team, that is possible, but they are very respectful of that. When you are in your clinical year and you have weekly meetings and appointments with your clients, then it gets a little trickier because if you wanted to just dart out of town for a week on a vacation or something, you're definitely going to have to work with your placement, your agency, to make sure that the students are, or the students, excuse me, that the clients are getting their needs met. But very unlikely for you to have to work over something like a winter break. Do you want to take this one, Minoska? What happens if you get a
Sure.
C?
Yeah, so if you get a C at the end of a term or the semester, we'll be reaching out to you with just you're not going to be in trouble, but it's kind of like an we call it like your academic progress notification, basically informing you, hey, you got to see this semester. You can't get more than two in your time with us as part-time students. So it's kind of like a warning, just letting you know, hey, this happened. Um, just a heads up, letting you know. And what can we do to help you do better, or is there anything that you need from Barbara or resources? Sometimes it was just a tough class, or you had a lot going on that semester. So, I've had students be really scared thinking they were going to get kicked out or something. But no, it's just a notice letting you know if you get two C's, you'll get another one, but it's going to be kind of like this is it. You can't get more than two, or it's grounds for dismissal, basically. Um, so this is also grad studies policy. You're expected to um, have like a 3.2, 3.2, a 3.0 by graduation. It's grad school, so it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit tougher. The expectations stronger. Um, but we're here for you guys, and so is Barbara. So again, you're not in trouble. You're not going to get kicked out. We're here to help you. So if you do get a notification from us, please let us know if there's anything we can do to help you. And this is why it's important to let us know sooner rather than later if you're going through something. Because like Adriana was saying, the weeks go by so quickly. The turnaround time is fast. So if you anticipate something happening or if you get in an accident, let us know ahead of time so that we can work with you and avoid any C's or failing grades, stuff like that.
It's much easier for us to help early on than it is for
Hmm.
us to help if we're in the last week of classes and you're like, wow, I just had a really hard term. I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna get a C. C's are okay. And I know that that's really hard for some people, especially, students in a professional program. You're like, oh, I've only gotten A's, and now maybe I really was in this challenging class and I've got a C, and that's okay. You can graduate with a C. You can graduate with two C's in your program. So please don't hype yourself up and get too consumed with what the grades are. People really will not ask your GPA once you
Hmm.
graduate. And we just want to help you as much as we can. So if that C is a result of something happening, if we can help you, we absolutely will. D and F grades are usually signs that you're not ready for graduate education and can be, you know, uh, they're grounds for dismissal. If you keep in touch with us and we know that something's going on, you're having difficulty, we can most likely give you an opportunity to retake the course. Or if it's an elective, maybe a different elective. But again, if we get to the end of that semester, you haven't contacted anybody, you haven't let your instructor know, and you get an F, it's much harder for us to be able to fight for you to not be dismissed from the program. So, as much as you can, keep in touch with us. And we'll also reach out periodically to you if we hear from your instructor that, hey, so and so is struggling a little bit in my class. Maybe they need some extra assistance. We'll try to link you up with Barbara or with one of us and try to see you through whatever difficulty is happening. And Stephen, I know you joined us a little bit later. We did a presentation at the beginning, but we will go ahead and email that out to you. It's got some important information and links to things, as well as a recording of this session. But if you have any questions, you feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourself, and we're happy to answer. We're here with you till you don't have any questions anymore, or till 1:30. But so just let us know how we can help.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I wish I could have come earlier, but prior commitments, but I'm happy to be able to join now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. And we also know that this first class that you're taking is quite intense in terms of the reading and taking quizzes every week and such. Um, your future classes will be more fun. This is a very foundational class, and just getting you to know the history of social work and what it means to be a social worker. You'll get to experience more collaborative work with your cohorts and with, excuse me, with your cohort mates and your instructors in future classes. Um, but sometimes this first class is a little off-putting because it's quite heavy in terms of content. Just the amount of reading to do, we understand is difficult. So if you're chugging along there, we're really looking out for you and hoping that you have a great end to your term. That 2 weeks from now it's over, and then you'll start another class in March, and that's usually a more fun experience. If no one has any additional questions, then look out in your email later this week for a copy of the recording and the presentation that we had here. And then if you sign off from here and you have any questions or anything, feel free to shoot us an email or set up an appointment. Um, we're glad to have you here. We have a nice big cohort, and we look forward to helping you throughout your 3 years in the program.